My father, he did it by himself. So when you talk about that, that may be part of it too. But I think about now, that may be part of what was plays for me, because my father, he was there by himself, right? So I'm from that point of doing things, but now I recognize also that I had to have a team with me. I just like the point of the small multi-family, getting people to work together as one.
There's a difference between a dream chaser and a dream catcher.
Thanks all for tuning in to Dreamcatchers, where we make things happen. Dreamcatchers was formally launched to unlock the hidden potential in successful, self-motivated individuals who desire to take their life's work to the next level but need support to evolve. We are a collective group of professionals with various backgrounds that use our talents to assist those individuals in realizing their wildest dreams by providing education, inspiration, and direction. This podcast is where we share the lessons we've learned along the way to catching our dreams and give you some context around the how and the why to each approach to put you further ahead on the journey to catching your dream. Are you ready?
Everybody, and welcome to the Dream Catchers podcast. I'm your host, Jerome, and I've got the pleasure of having Lawrence Latty in the building with me today. Lawrence, how are things in the BX?
Everything's excellent, Jerome. Thank you for having me on today. Thank you for having me on. It is an honor and a privilege to be on the Dream Catchers podcast.
Man, we're really excited to have you come hang out for a little while. I see you got Mr. International in there. You just got back from Paris and London and St. Lucia. I mean, I guess you are Mr. International, but what's the origin of that? People probably asking, who's this guy? Who's Mr. International?
Well, what happens is when I first started my meetup, I just started my meetup in late 2020. And I had Nicole Pendergrass on, right, as a guest. And she came on, and what I do is I usually, in my meetup, I go around the screen and ask people their names, where they from, what they do. And if you go around the screen, this guy says, I'm so-and-so, I'm from New Zealand. I say, okay, nice, thank you. At the end of the meetup, Aaron Goins says, you know what, we're gonna call you Mr. International. And at first I was like, okay, nah, that's not me. And then after a while, he said, well, you know what? If you don't want it, somebody else may want it. I said, you know what? I had a moment of clarity. And I took the name and it has stuck ever since.
Wow. So you actually got the nickname. It was given to you instead of you making it up yourself and say, yes, hey, I go by this, huh?
Mm-hmm. Somebody gave it to me and it's stuck since that time. Maybe I call it Mr. International.
Beautiful. So you mentioned the meetup. What is a meetup, and tell us a little bit about yours?
Well, what happened is in before the pandemic began, I was thinking about having a meetup because I was working for the Transit Authority, and I said the people from transit need to get an understanding of more about real estate. And the pandemic came, and that sort of sidelined everything until October. And I don't know, you may know this person. He's my coach. His name is, I don't know if you know, his name is Jerome Myers. Anyway, so he said, you know what? I was talking about having this meetup, and he said, well, go ahead and do it. Because I was like a person doing a double Dutch. I'm about to get in, but I want to be perfect. And Jerome said, just go ahead jump in there. So I started, and it started October 13th of 2020. I've had some phenomenal speakers and guests on there. And right now, it's just doing phenomenal. It's just doing great. It really is doing great. I enjoy it. I enjoy people. I enjoy helping people. And it feels like home. I like to welcome everybody. Come on in.
It feels like home, but that's not by accident. You make people feel welcome, and I think that's part of your brand, right? I think all of us have a brand, and your brand is to greet everybody, welcome them in, make them feel like they're amongst friends or family. And that is the thing that I think most people mention when they talk about your meetup. They talk about 7 p.m. on Eastern on Tuesday nights, being able to go hang out with people who don't look down on them, don't put them on a pedestal, and you just come in, relate, have a good conversation. Do you feel like it's an accurate representation?
That's very accurate, very accurate. Because I've had, and I'm not. When I say this, I'm not trying to, pat myself in the back. But I've had people tell me, I just come and I enjoy coming meet up. It's so welcoming. But most of that stuff I got also because I enjoy networking with people. I enjoy talking to people, and I believe that if you put your hand out, even if it's in person, in person meetups, you got to put your hand out and say, "Hey," with a smile and say, "Welcome."
Now, where's your and I know you mentioned that had a little something to do with you jumping into the double dutch game and starting the meetup, but did you just come up with this idea by yourself, or did you start attending some stuff prior to you doing your own thing? Like, for the folks who are looking for their thought leadership platform and they think maybe putting people together on a weekly basis in this meetup format is a good idea for them. How'd you figure out how to run yours, and did you attend others prior to starting your own?
Well, before the pandemic began, I was attending meetups. And then when the pandemic came, right, I was a captive audience at work. So I was doing 10 meetups a week. And when I wanted to start mine, I it wasn't not my thought process. I listened to Adam Adams. He had a podcast. He was a guest on a podcast talking about how to make meetups work. So I took some of his ideas and used them for a virtual meetup. So what I do is I usually go around the screen at the beginning of the meeting. I always go around the screen and ask everybody, give me your name, let them know where you're from, what you do. And that's what he said in his podcast. He said he asked people in the room, you go around the room, ask everybody their name. Therefore, it feels like you said before, it feels welcoming. It feels like you're at home, right?
Okay. And so how do you get people to come? I'm a meetup failure, right? I would only get one or two people to come to my meetups, and then they would kind of stay a part of the time. But you're saying I think you're getting double digits for sure, maybe close to 30, 40, 50 people every week. Like, how are you doing that? It can't just be going around the room and saying your name, can it?
No, I think the thing is bringing value to people, right? Like you said, this is no judgment zone, right? Be you, and also the fact of the matter is that I just continually I'm consistent in the meetup. I'm consistent no matter what because I believe in one thing. I don't care if it's one person was there when I first began. You just keep on going. You keep on going. Consistency is what keeps the meetup going. But part of it also is the people who are there too, because it's not me that makes the meetup. It's the people who make the meetup, the attendants who make the meetup, right? And those are people that when they come and they're open also, and they're smiling also. The people who are new come in, they feel that the energy in there. It makes them want to come back again also, right? And
Yeah, it's almost like church.
so also the fact that, you know what, I think that part of it is also that I have a mixture of different people come in and they just enjoy it. That's all. They just enjoy it. And then you make a lot of friends. So you want to see your friends, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. So you've had a ton of change over the past 12 months. I think you retired in the last year. The meetup's going, you've been traveling internationally. Why would you go on this endeavor to start gathering people on a weekly basis? And I think you're even doing stuff quarterly with your mastermind dinner. So why not just kind of put your feet up and go play golf or go fishing or just travel with the grandkids and the kids? Why do all this stuff?
Because there's a purpose. I believe there's a purpose for me. And for me, the purpose is that you want to help people. And this help is by educating people, right? By reaching out to people. In this last year, I've met people that I've never met before, right? I met them in person, right? It's not about putting the legs up and call it a day. The journey's not over till the journey's over, right? I didn't come this far to go this far. I came this far to go further. And I enjoy this. I enjoy meeting people. I enjoy what I'm doing, right? Even the dinners, right? Everything I've done is through reading also, right? That's part of it also, reading books, getting to understand what you can do by bringing people together. Because when you bring people together, they meet other people who can probably help them on their journey also, right? It's about relational transactions, right? This is about relationships, right? That's what I like to do, create relationships with people, to deepen them, to help them grow.
So let me get this right. You want to help people grow. Where did that come from? Because again, like, you're retired, and we'll dive into your illustrious career here in a little bit, but why not just hang it up? I know you said I didn't want to come this far to go this far. I want to go further. But where does this passion come from? Where does this drive come from to continue to be so active after 40 years in a career?
I know what? Sometimes I wonder myself. There's times I'm like, what's going on here? Right? But I just enjoy this. I really, truly enjoy this whole meeting people, talking to people, going out to lunch with people. It's something that it just is. I can't put my finger on it and go, I just enjoy it. I guess, what I mean, let me say this also. See, I was in Amway before also, right? I was in Amway. So some of these books I read before, and people talk about, oh, no, I'm meeting people. So for me, it was just easy. It's like, hey, how you doing? Right? Listen, smile. Hey, how you doing? Smile and put your hand out. Firm handshake, right? No, don't squeeze nobody's knuckles together, but a firm handshake, you know what I'm saying? And it's just easy for me. It's just easy. And I don't think, for me, it's not about retiring and call it a day. Somebody asked me at work, you said you're gonna get into that, but somebody talked about, so when you retire, you're gonna hang up, you're gonna just sit back and relax? No. Sit back and relax. No. It's about, there's more to life than just sit back and relaxing. There's a time and place for everything.
I like that. And so it sounds like you're uniquely gifted to enjoy people, meet people, greet people, make them feel welcome. And then there's the socially awkward people like me who like, I don't know what to say to this new person. What am I supposed to do? So do you have any like tools that a person can use when they're meeting somebody new to like be memorable and to make a favorable impression?
Yes, surely. It's called I call it the 4 Ps. Right? It's called the 4 Ps. The first P is positivity, right? You gotta be positive, always smile. Even if you had a bad day, you gotta come, if you want to meet people, you gotta smile. You smile and go, hey, how you doing? My name is Lawrence. What's your name? Right? So you got that positivity. Then you got, we're gonna jump around a little bit, right? Then you gotta produce, right? So at the end of the time, at the end of it, you gotta also help people. You gotta follow up with people, right? You gotta follow up with people. Make sure that you follow up. Make sure you call back. Hey, how you doing? I gotta get into it. Sometimes I fall back for that because I need to call people. I keep on forgetting. You also text people. Hey, how you doing? Right? It's also patterns you create, right? Patterns you create by always, if you like the meetup, if you have a host of the meetup, if you go into a meetup, right, you got to continue to be consistent with it on a daily basis, on a weekly basis. If the meetup's every week, you need to be there every week, right? You can't go 1 week, don't go for 2, and people like, who's this guy, right? Who's this girl, right? Because when you create those patterns, right? It creates a pattern, and it's called the KLT, right? The funnel at the top, right, is wide and big. So as you go down, a lot of people are gonna know you. But as it goes down, you keep on going to these meetings on a weekly basis, people get to start liking you, hopefully, if you're a likable person, right? But then people get to trust you, right? And as the funnel gets down to the bottom, few people are gonna, at the end, it's gonna be invest. And what I do is I say like this, the 4 P's is like a marriage, right? Know, like, and trust, invest, right? So everybody can understand this, right? So before you went out with somebody, right, they had to know you, get to know you, right? So after they got to know you, they got to like you. Now if they liked you, they were invited to your house and they went to the bathroom without checking to make sure, right? And they closed the door and they said that I'm gonna start trusting this person, and then they're gonna snoop through my stuff. So they trust you, right? And at the end of whatever term it is, they invest in you, right? They invest either in married, are we going together? That's the investment. So it's the same thing in business, same thing in networking, right? The 4th P is on top of my head. I can't remember. It was like, I'm still a little foggy from London, but I tell you what, you got to create, you got to produce, follow up. You got to be positive. You got to create good patterns. And patterns, like I said before, is you got to make these meals on a weekly basis, right? Therefore, people get to know you, right? You create the patterns so people get to reach out to people all the time. But the most important thing is being positive, right? If you're not positive, ain't nobody gonna know you. No good thing. They may know you, they ain't gonna like you, right? Yeah. And part of it, you just said before, you don't just say to people. So I tell people, you know what? Use FORD, F-O-R-D, right? Family, occupation, recreation, dreams. And I didn't think about that. I read that in a book, right? So everything, when I talk to people out here, when I say something, when you ask me these questions, I talk about things like this, I've learned everything from books, right? So family, occupation, recreation, dreams. You ask people those 4 questions. If you talk about their family, people only want to talk about, they want to let you know about themselves, right? How's the family doing? That leads into, I got 2 kids. Really? What do? They play football. Well, my kids play football too. What position they play? It can lead on to a long thing. It's not about how many doors you got. No, we can't do that. No, let me know about who you are. Let me find about you, what you are, what are you about? People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care.
So let me get this right: family, occupation, recreation, and dreams.
Mm-hmm.
And you can just start having that conversation with somebody you've just met, and by doing that, you'll be able to go through getting to know each other, and then over time, people will decide whether or not they like you, and then eventually that'll lead to trust. Is if you're going down the KLT funnel, as you so eloquently put it. That's really impressive. Because I always kind of look at people, I'm like, I don't know what question to ask you, and I don't know what to tell you about myself. So for you to give us that family, occupation, recreation, and dreams mnemonic is, I think, really, really, really valuable. And it's going to help me because I'm going to start doing that and see how far I go. And then you gave us the 4 Ps. And so the one that I think is like the big one, and you emphasized this, was positivity. You're like, smile, reach out your hand, introduce yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And if you do that, you'll set yourself apart from most people, if I'm not mistaken. Is that true?
Right. That's true. And I told you the other P is prosperity, right? See, so but being prosperous means you're giving away stuff, right? You're prosperous already. You can't keep it if you don't give it away. I always say that, right? So you give away, but how you gonna give stuff away? That means you gotta fill yourself with stuff first. You gotta fill yourself with books. You gotta fill yourself with knowledge, with self-improvement, right? Because before income improvement comes self-improvement. And you gotta fill yourself with improvement. self-improve, definitely be able to be prosperous and give. You can give. See, because it's all about giving.
Give freely. And so positivity, prosperity, patterns,
Mm-hmm.
and what's the last one?
Produce.
Produce.
Right.
Produce, patterns, positivity, and prosperity. The 4 P's, ladies and gentlemen. You better pick them up while he's putting them down, because we're getting into it today. So, all right, we got to this really philosophical conversation, right? But you've been practicing these things for a long time. So tell the folks a little bit about your career and all the folks you trained and the day that your life changed, and like give them the goods, man, because I think people really need to get to know you because they're going to be inspired by this story.
Okay, well, I was just retired last year of 21, right? From the Transit Authority. And I operated a subway train here in New York City. And during that time, I've trained, I believe over 900 people. Woo. Right? So all that, I didn't realize that what I was doing was, positivity, prosperity, patterns of produce, but it was, right? But in that time frame, there's some things, I believe that God tells you has a set way for you to go. And because we are human beings, we can determine through our brains the choices we make. So I made a choice, and I made a turn at the left, and I went off the rails a little bit. It is what it is. It happens, right? But life doesn't keep you down. The only person keeps you down is you. So what I did was I've been clean for 33 years. My parents, through their love and caring, right? That's what kept me going also, right? Because there's times that family members like, oh, stay away. But they love me through and through, right? Been, like I said, been clean for 33 years. And also in that time, I've learned to fall down and get back up, right? And I was in pre-foreclosure for two buildings, and I lost one building also in that time. Oh, how did I get to that point? Because my parents also were part of that process. Also, because my father bought his first house a while ago. I'm not going to tell you my age, but anyway, he bought his first house, and that's what got me into real estate. And he bought another house. They bought another 5-family across the street from it. So that's what got me started. And like I said before, I went to left. I came back to the track, and I don't know. I think I got off track there, but the bottom line is that I got back on to the right thinking, and I moved on from there.
A lot of people want to unlock their ultimate potential but lack the strategy, support, and stamina necessary to achieve their major goals. They often try to overcome these challenges by trying to do it on their own, causing frustration, fatigue, and eventually failure. We have developed a model for a center life, aka the red pill, to help them bolster their beliefs, gain clarity on their path to success, and provide accountability as they take action on their goals. When they take the red pill, they rapidly accelerate attainment of their goals and begin to experience a life of significance and impact. Want to find out more? Hop over to jeromemyers.co. Now, let's get back to the episode. A lot of times people will discard a person. They're going to say, hey, they're over there doing that thing that I don't agree with. And, we're just going to leave them over there in that lifestyle. And you offered that your parents covered you in love and that helped you make a transition back to what you call the right side of the road. What is your guidance? Because you continue to help people who are in recovery, right? You're a part of
Mhm.
that process for a lot of people, probably more people than you've ever trained. And so, what is your guidance to people who see folks who are struggling and maybe they need some help or they don't know that they're struggling and they don't know what to do, but they do know that they care about this person or they love this person?
I think the guys was my mother, because my mother was she was hospitable to the end, right? She's always caring, loving, considerate, kind. I think I got a lot of my traits from my mother, right? When you see people down and out, I always say to people, you know what? For the grace of God, there go I. Right. So for me, it's my guidance is through who I choose to call my high power, God. Um, I believe in the love. Love is number one. With love, everything else goes through love. So I love people, right? So no matter what happens, right, I love you no matter what. That's my take on it. It's just about love.
And so, how does it work? Like, I love you. Is that enough? Or is there certain actions that you have to take in order to show the person that you love them? Because I think love is a verb, not just a noun.
No, love. You're right. Love is a verb, not a noun. Love is called action, showing people, right? I mean, I listened to. I was turned on to this motivational speaker, and he says, people are interested in hearing you preach a sermon. They're interested in hearing you walk a sermon, right? So love is action. Love is action, showing people that you care, no matter what, right? No matter what comes up, you still love them. Giving it all you got. That's why I do. I give it all I got, leave it on the field of play, right? Come off the field of play exhausted. That means you've done, knowing that you've given everything you've gotten. Because Winston Churchill says, all a man can do is his best. That's it. So you give your best in everything that you do, right? Relationships, business, best to you, right? You owe you something. How about that, right? So I just want to give my best in everything I do.
So, when you're helping folks who are in recovery, are you just telling them do your best, or what kind of guidance or counseling are you giving them?
Well, when you talk to somebody, you just let them know, do you want to give them your experience, right? What you've done. And sometimes people just want you to be a sounding board. They just want to listen. They want you to listen to them, right? And therefore just sit back and listen. Because the art of listening is a lost art sometimes. Sometimes people just want to talk, they want to get stuff off their chest, right? And that's what it's all about sometimes also. Just listening to what people are saying. Yes, okay, okay. And not say nothing, right? I mean, I don't give advice, I give suggestions, right? Because it's a program of suggestions. I suggest you do this. You can do what you want to do, but here's my suggestion. Take my suggestion, right? But I know about that too, because somebody gave me a suggestion, I take the suggestion. So I had to learn the hard way, right? so life is about suggestions, right? People give you suggestions, your parents give you suggestions, right? They suggest that you do it this way, but you didn't do it that way. So now you got, my father said, you make your bed hard, it's gonna be you gonna lie in the hard.
And I really like the wisdom there because I think everybody has a choice. And it's not our responsibility to make people do the thing, right? It's our opportunity. We get an opportunity to help them make their journey a little bit easier.
Right. Right, there you go. And that's just like you said, I give you a choice. You can go with this, you can go with that. The choice is yours. It's really that simple. And it's an opportunity, opportunities I'm sharing the choice that I'm telling you that I think you should make is because I've experienced what has happened when you don't do that choice that you want to do. Right? The choice you want to make, I made that choice already. So let me tell you my experience. Here's a choice that I should have made then. So I'm working on giving you the choice that you can make now, that you should make now. But like you said before, it's up to you to take it. It's up to you.
So it's interesting because I think a lot of people want to hide the choices, the bad choices, the mistakes, the missteps. And you're openly sharing the fact that you're speaking from a place of authority because you have the experience, right? You got the t-shirt. You did the thing and you got the t-shirt.
Well, you know what? Why not be? I think the problem is the problem nowadays. People are not transparent. Right? I used to tell my kids, when people talk to me, if you're interested in getting a relationship with somebody, let them cut their gut open, let everything spill onto the table. Therefore, everybody knows what's going on with you. Therefore, there's no ooh on odds at the end. Oh, you didn't tell me that, right? You didn't tell me this. You can tell me that. I think a lot of times people don't think they want to tell you about all the glory, right? Then they want to show you. They don't want to. They want to let you know about the failures. I don't know why, right? It's like I liken this to multifamily sometimes. People speaking, you hear all the glory. What about the times when you fell down your face, scratched your head, you had to get 20 stitches in your head, right? What about them times when you cut your knee wide open? Right? It's good for people to know that it's not easy, right? It's not going to be easy. You got to take the stairs. When I went to the Eiffel Tower, I took the stairs to the top. I didn't take the elevator, right? That's life. You got to take the stairs to the top.
Is there the stairs is a lot of people say the stairs is the hard way. Is there what's the wisdom behind taking the harder way, the longer way, the less efficient way, the less easy way? Why take the stairs instead of hitting the elevator?
Because life is not the elevator. Life is the stairs. You're gonna trip up the steps sometime, right? You're gonna get tired, right? You're gonna stop, catch your breath, you're gonna keep on going. The elevator, you press a button, you get relaxed, you get into the comfort zone. Oh, this is easy. The comfort zone. And then before you know it, you're sitting with your feet up, thinking everything's supposed to be happening just like this. It doesn't always happen like that. Life is easy on the elevator, real easy. Then when something does happen, you don't know what to do because you haven't taken the steps. It's been easy peasy all this time, right? And that's just my take on it. This is my take because I've taken the steps. I took the steps. I've taken the steps a lot of times. And there's times I fell down the steps too.
Oh no, that's not fun. But there's so much wisdom there, man. I feel like you're sprinkling us with diamonds because here's the thing, right? You get to choose your hard. And literally what you just said is, look, take the stairs proactively so you've calloused or hardened yourself so you're ready.
Mm-hmm.
When that thing comes, that challenge arrives, you're in good shape. You're not going to be winded or out of breath because you already took the stairs. You know that you can do it, and so it gives you a different level of confidence too, right?
Right.
Like this isn't oh, I just do the thing. This is I did the thing and I'm ready to do the next one. And I think this is so consistent and congruent with your message overall because I'm retired. No, I'm just into the next phase of my life where I don't have to go in and trade hours for dollars in order to get the pension or get the weekly paycheck. I made that sacrifice and now I've got freedom and flexibility to go do some other things that are of more impact. You mentioned that your parents did some stuff with real estate and you followed suit, even though you had some trials along the way. I know you're doing some Airbnb right now. You got some long term stuff. Like, kind of talk to the listeners about, small multifamily, Airbnb, and why you think these are great investment opportunities for folks out there who are interested in creating some additional revenue.
Well, the Airbnb, let's start the Airbnb first. The Airbnb, I feel, right, that can help you, like you said, create some additional income, because once you set up and run it, it starts running by itself, right? The small multifamily I like is because I think that's a sweet spot for me, right? Because the 50 units to 10, 5 units, that's my sort of sweet spot, because everybody else is going for the larger multifamily. And my thing is to buy and hold. I'm looking to buy and flip. I'm gonna buy and hold for long-term wealth, right? And therefore I can do more JV in that way, right? I can find partners to JV in, because I'm gonna be honest, syndication, those are all tools, I understand, but I like the point of me just being around the people who I'm investing with, right? So if it's 4 or 5 people, we can always do this together. Therefore, we form a team, and that's part of that's the heartbeat right there for me. My father, he did it by himself. So when you talk about that, that may be part of it too. But I think about now, that may be part of what plays for me, because my father, he was there by himself, right? So I'm from that point of doing things, but now I recognize also that I had to have a team with me. I just like the point of the small multifamily, getting people to work together as one.
So I've also heard you say in other interviews that had you had the right network or had you had the right team, then some of the missteps wouldn't have happened. You would have been able to navigate those challenges. And so I think what's really cool is you've had your experiences and you're doing all that you can to make other people's lives a little bit easier, a little bit better. Even if they are taking the stairs, you might be able to hand them a cup of water when they get to the top of a flight. You may be able to point out that one of the boards is weak, and if they step on it, it may give, or they might twist their ankle or something. And you don't sit at the top of the stairs and say, I got mine, you got to go get yours. But you're reaching back to encourage people to come along on the journey. There's this story I heard you tell when you were chatting with Billy Kills on the Going Long podcast, and you were talking about new people coming in and what you would tell them when they got their, that big pay raise, if they were coming in from school or coming in somewhere else, and how they should spend that money. I'd love for you to share that story with our tribe, because I think it's just a phenomenal example of who you are and the advice we should be giving to those who are behind us on our journey.
So what happens is, when I bet people come on the street, right? They took the test, they come in, I'll give them the rules of transit, right? And talk about safety, using the rule book, common sense. Now, I also tell them, so you know what? Here's what you need to do. You need to don't come in here, get a new car, get a used car, get a hoopty. That's number one. And number two, after your year's over, you need to go get a house. Not a 1 family, a 2 family, 3 family, 4 family house. Therefore, I tell them that because a lot of times people come up the street and they come in, I got this, like you said, a pay raise. If they came from a lower paying job, and now I need to get this car, I need to get this, I need to get that. I tell them, no, you need to get something, an investment. Investment is number one. Everything else is number two. And with that investment, I tell them what you do is, you want to at least get this house. So therefore you can buy another house further down the road. So I tell them, you can buy one house a year, every not a year, maybe 5 years. And so at the end of your 10-year transit, you have maybe 10 houses, right? What's the issue, right? You have money, because everybody went about pension. But then you don't have your pension, you give your pension away. So that the whole thing is that I like to give people advice on, because when I came into transit, it was about no advice. People talking about partying, right? As they talk about partying, where's the party at? But I'd rather not. When I was in transit, I gave the advice on how to further your money and also how to invest. I think it's important to help people.
I think very few people get that type of guidance when they come in the door to what is a career, and it's one of those places where it can be the only place you work for your entire career.
Yeah.
So, I always ask our guests the same final question, and I'm going to ask it to you. What's the one thing you want our listeners to take away from this episode?
That you can do anything you want to do. The age does not matter. You do anything that you want to do, anything. It doesn't matter. Don't nobody tell you can't do something. The only thing that's gonna stop you is you. Because I recognize that I know I'm not gonna sit down. My kids bought me a little backyard patio stuff for my retirement. Dad, you need to sit down and relax. I can't sit down and relax. I'm not gonna sit down and relax. Like I said before, I didn't come this far to go this far. I came this far to go further. There's more I can do. There's more people I can help. And life is not finished. This is just the beginning.
Ladies and gentlemen, Lawrence Latty, the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. International, giving it to you straight. And this is one of those episodes I think you got to go back and listen to again, because there's so many jewels and nuggets just tucked away in these different stories and experience that this gentleman has had over the course of decades. And I think every time you get to see the feet of elders, that you should really tune in and listen for the stories that they're sharing with you, because it can ease your journey. It can prevent you from making missteps that were not destined for you. If he made a mistake, there's no reason for you to have to. Further faster, because you didn't come this far to go this far. Your dreams should be real. We'll talk soon.
Thank you for joining the tribe today. We would love to hear from you. Please don't forget to rate, like, and share. Perhaps someone you know could benefit from what we've discussed. Until the next time, remember that your dreams should be real.